Well, let's now bring you international news. And we are beginning in South Africa. That's our main focus this afternoon. NASA leader Raila Odinga has congratulated South Africa's Vice President Cyril Ramaphosa on his election as new leader of the country's independence party, the African National Congress. In a statement, Odinga said the win by Mr. Ramaphosa, who he considered a personal friend, signals a new era of democracy in Africa. Ramaphosa was on Monday declared winner of the hotly contested race after beating his closest rival, former chairperson of the African Union, Zuma, who is also an ex-wife of South Africa's President Jacob Zuma. The anti-apartheid hero garnered 2,444 votes against Ms. Dlamini Zuma's 2,261. The leadership battle caused fierce political infighting, raising fears the party might split before the election. Ramaphosa campaigned as the anti-Zuma candidate, promising to target corruption, and his victory could mean that the ANC decides to recall Mr. Zuma as national president in the next few weeks. And I've been joined in the studio by my colleague Lerato Lesoso, and she is...
We declare Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa as the new president of the African National Congress.
All right, so Lerato is with me in the studio. Lerato, give us a better understanding of the developments within the ANC.
All right, thank you very much, Abena, for having me. South Africans have spoken, or should I rather say the ANC has spoken. That is our ruling party in South Africa. And basically, over the weekend, from Friday, they were having their annual ANC conference. And so on Sunday, actually, we were meant to have the results out. But the opposition camp, which was from the Dlamini Zuma camp, contested the results. They needed a recount of the results just to verify. And then indeed, on Monday, the results were announced. And Cyril Ramaphosa is now the new president of the ANC. What does this mean? Yeah. Like, everybody's, you could see even from the visuals, people are excited over this. Why? Because people are actually very tired of President Zuma, to be honest with you. And it is also very shocking to see that people within his party are also tired of him. So this means, this is very exciting for South Africa because it gives you, the South Africans a possible hope ahead of the 2019 elections.
And we are seeing a statement from Raila Odinga. What's their relationship like? Is there any correlation between the political fronts of the two countries?
When I came with the two countries, yes, but not even that extensive. However, with Nelson Mandela and Thabo Mbeki, there was a very deep sense of international relations. But with President Zuma, he's been affiliated mostly with a certain group of people and not so much so involved with other leaders in other countries. But with Cyril Ramaphosa, remember that he was involved in the Nelson Mandela regime. He has a very rich political background, and then at a certain point, he decided to go full-time into business. People are wondering, who is Cyril Ramaphosa? He's currently South Africa's vice president, rather, and he is also one of the richest businessmen in South Africa. So he has a lot of support from the business side of South Africa. So he kind of shied away from politics after the Thabo Mbeki saga. You'll remember that in 2008, Thabo Mbeki was actually recalled from his position as president of the ANC. Zuma stepped in. So what is happening now is so interesting because in the same manner that Cyril Ramaphosa has won against the Zuma camp, so what it means he can decide to recall Zuma from his presidency ahead of the election. He doesn't have to wait for 2019, so that he will have enough time, room to maneuver and choose his own cabinet and win over over the confidence of people on the ANC. Otherwise, I don't see how they're going to garner votes come 2019 with the kind of image that they currently have.
But what does he bring to the fore differently, looking at his business background?
When you look at him as a person in comparison to the current president, Zuma, is that he has a very clean image, in the sense that he's got very less skeletons and less scandals. You know, the only scandal that he was ever associated with on a personal capacity was him cheating, but those were never even verified. And then eventually also politically it could be the Marikana massacre. You know, he was also linked to that, you know, that he got his hands involved in that blood. However, that too was never really proven by the court. So those are the only things, you know, tainting his image right now. He's got a very good image. He kind of like represents the old regime of the ANC as we know it, with the likes of Nelson Mandela and former President Thabo Mbeki. That speaks well for him. It can win over the confidence of people. And then with business, I mean, he's one of the richest businessmen in South Africa, and if not Africa. And so, you know, it will emulate not necessarily Donald Trump, but when it comes to a president who will not be a liability to the state, and then who will bring in innovative things, because he really has made a name for himself without much support from the government. So I'm sure he would have amazing ideas when it comes to contributing to the economy and to businesses and, you know, the livelihood of people in general.
And just before you go, how have the people of South Africa been responding to this whole change?
The response has been a bittersweet, you know, because we still, even though we have this history, people still have some loyalty towards President Jacob Zuma. So there are people who are not happy with the outcome. There are some who feel extremely betrayed because they believe Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma was going to probably be our first woman president in South Africa. And so they feel like people who did not vote for her took that away from us. And honestly, he does have a good CV. He has a very, has a great
profile. That is Mrs. Zuma.
Mrs. Zuma, but it doesn't help that she's the ex-wife of President Zuma.
That's not what the people
and
want.
Has the confidence of Zuma and Zuma's backing. People just want to get rid of Zuma and his administration. And so because she's associated to him, people forgot all her credentials, honestly, and people want change. And Ramaphosa
that is what they've
symbolizes that change. Otherwise, they should forget about the victory when it comes to the 2019 polls.
Well, we'll see how that goes. But thank you very much, Lerato Lesoso. And she